to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before I knew. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence can be a young man's game. Signed up for the hall of shame. I wish I knew.
Welcome to the channel. I'm your guide. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.
Honestly, fans have loved it. While it is a big change for everyone has respected the change and shown up in droves to support these new female heroes. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone hates it, and everyone is really damn pissed about it. And the reviews and box office numbers are just as bad as people say, no matter how much Rotten Tomatoes tries to convince us otherwise. But why? Well, it's probably because everybody hates women. Nope, that's not why. Turns out 50% of the population is female, and you know what? They're not going to see these movies or supporting these TV shows either. Is it because women hate women? No, it's because these movies and TV shows are, spoiler alert, really bad. And that's what we're going to talk about today, the problem with the modern and very woke representation of women. Now, speaking as a woman of brownish color, I have to say that I don't really see myself connecting with the new Batwoman, Rey Skywalker, the new female Doctor, the new Mulan, Captain Marvel, the Charlie's Angels, Harley Quinn, and especially not Commander Holdo, or as I like to call her, Purple Hair Lady from Star Wars. I just don't like any of these characters.
So stick to your post and follow my orders.
Oh god, especially not Commander Holdo. No, when I think of incredible badass women, I think of Black Widow, or Rita Vertasky from Edge of Tomorrow, and Zoe from Firefly. I think of Éowyn taking down the Witch King of Agmar in Lord of the Rings, and Wonder Woman walking into no man's land. This scene just gives me goosebumps. The reason I absolutely love these characters is because their ability is apparent, but oh so understated. Their gender is never brought up as a justification, excuse, or any sort of complaint. They're fully aware of their strengths and weaknesses and use other people's perceptions of their gender to their advantage. Like when Natasha Romanoff lets Russian gangsters think that they have her overpowered, when really she can easily break out whenever she wants. I like that these women fight for higher callings than themselves. They fight for peace or for justice. Ultimate goal isn't their own glory, but the triumph of good over evil.
I'm a soldier. I volunteered. I'm not walking away.
And I have to say that my absolute favorite thing about them is that they don't hate men. They don't feel threatened or put upon by the men around them. Instead, they form bonds with them and work with them shoulder to shoulder as equals. And their own power is not diminished in comparison. They're not here to destroy the patriarchy. They're here to do what's right. Now, the creators of these new female characters would probably say the same thing, that these characters are here to do the right thing and give young girls everywhere positive representations to look up to. But how have they done that? Well, let's look at the first mistake that woke feminism is making, and that is taking over existing male franchises. A few years ago, it was announced that Doctor Who, a BBC program that has been a staple of British programming for the better part of the last 6 decades, would for the first time feature a female doctor. Now, to say that all the fans were against this would be just as inaccurate as saying that everyone was for it. People were intrigued about this new direction, but were worried that their favorite show would get the same treatment that Star Wars and Ghostbusters had gotten before it. Search male, replace with female, with a lethal dose of identity politics. You see, in recent years, the introduction of female-led media has not been simply a nod to female empowerment and the opportunity to take stories into new and interesting directions. No, it's usually accompanied with some pretty heavy-handed reinforcement of about time, and this is what we all need. And while it can sound empowering, it comes off as very self-congratulatory and self-aggrandizing, and completely distracts from why people tune in every week, the story and the characters.
Boring.
And this is the second mistake that woke feminism is making. It feels entitled to its success. Remember when Charlie's Angels was set to release a few years ago and people were doubting whether it would be a good movie? And here's what the director Elizabeth Banks had to say about it.
My real plea is for men to have enough empathy to go see movies starring women. Because I've been asked to go see movies starring men my entire life, and happily have done so. and I don't know why men don't return that favor.
Now, female creators or male creators of female empowering shows might feel they're justified in their sense of entitlement of success, support, and loyalty from fan bases. But that doesn't mean that people are going to give it to them. In fact, entitlement is often universally met with scorn and mockery. But of course, they don't think that they're being entitled. They think that they're asking for what they're due. Oh wait, that is the definition of entitlement. But the energy they're spending on demanding success is the energy they're not spending where they need to. And this is the next mistake that woke feminism is making. The characters, these examples for young girls everywhere, well, they're not that great.
I need you to fix his suit.
The suit is literal perfection.
It will be. When it fits a woman.
Imagine the hubris of taking the work of someone else, Bruce Wayne in this situation, someone who battle-tested and designed something for themselves. Imagine strolling in and demanding that the suit be fixed to fit you, and that it is only perfect once it fits a woman who did nothing to earn it except be a woman. I'm sorry, am I supposed to connect with this behavior? Am I supposed to look at this and applaud this as a win and apply it into my own life? Am I supposed to barge into someone's office while they're out to lunch and demand that they swap out the name on the door? How about this scene from Doctor Who, where an MI6 official assumes the Doctor is a man? A fair assumption since the Doctor has been a man for many decades. Does the female Doctor handle it with grace, with maturity, and earn the respect of her audience as well as everyone around her?
I've had an upgrade. Hi.
Really? Really? Did you really need to put down every man that has come before you? Why do they need to kneel down for you to stand up? And that's the problem with these characters. There is such a bitterness in them. They're not working for something bigger than them. They're driven by vengeance and anger.
I'm not about to let a man take credit for a woman's work.
Okay, but you just took credit for Batman's work. So that's okay. This antagonistic behavior assumes that we just hand over success to men simply for being men. By that logic, no male-led movie ever does badly, and no male character is ever criticized or disliked. That would mean that Solo, a movie about a well-known, beloved male character, should have done well, but it didn't. I can't believe I need to say this, but success needs to be earned. But woke feminism thinks that if you don't like these characters, then you are a sexist. This is the next mistake of woke feminism. There is no such thing as legitimate criticism. No, any criticism of these totally incredible characters must be born out of bitter jealousy and a deep desire to keep women down. That if you dislike a female character, it's because she possesses power and we are more comfortable with seeing women in subservient positions. Even we women who criticize them don't apparently realize the years of brainwashing we've undergone that has told us that the woman's place is one step behind the man, if not in the kitchen. On to the next mistake that woke feminism makes. Its unshakable belief that it is saving society. That men would be bigoted, toxic fools if woke feminists weren't putting them in their place, and that women would be helpless, knitting by the fire and weeping into their handkerchiefs, wondering when the men would be home. That young women everywhere would have no role models without woke feminism, born out of yet another flawed belief that you need to see exactly yourself on screen, someone who has your skin color, your background in order to connect with them. But that's not how human beings work, and that's not how imagination works. Regardless, more female representation on screen is a good thing, and feminism has been doing a great job on that front for many decades now. That is until woke feminism came out of nowhere, punched traditional feminism in the gut, and said it was here to save it. Remember when Captain Marvel came out and made $1 billion at the box office and everyone was like congratulating Brie Larson, and she was like, guys, women can be leads in movies just like men, jeez. I think what drives me crazy about this is that there is absolutely no acknowledgement of the past, as if Sarah Connor did not terminate the Terminator and Ripley did not destroy the alien, as if these women didn't decades ago dominate the box office as badass action heroes. Strong female characters have been speaking well for their gender far longer than the woke feminists would have you believe, but there's one clear difference between the two types of representations. These females coming onto the screen weren't perfect superheroes. No, they they had shortcomings and they were up against insurmountable odds. And they fought back, they learned, they grew, and when they overcame the enemy, we saw ourselves in them and believed that we too could overcome everything that scares us. Well, what about the female characters of today? They're either completely perfect or other times they're rude, arrogant, and entitled, and tend to stay that way.
You're a female Bruce Wayne.
Awesome, hilarious, handsome.
Most commonly, we associate these traits with brash men.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off, what are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you.
If our main hero possesses these traits, then it's almost guaranteed that it will be their undoing. That is, until they learn some much-needed humility. The reason the Marvel franchise was so incredibly successful was because at the heart of it was the transformation of two men. Captain America started off as an idealistic, selfless servant to his country, but eventually learned the tiny amount of selfishness needed for him to actually live his life and be happy. Tony Stark went from a hedonistic, self-serving playboy constantly impressed by his own genius to a man who found meaning and paid the ultimate price to preserve it. People could connect with these heroes, see themselves in their struggles, and believe that they too could rise from their errors and achieve greatness. But the modern female woke hero doesn't get this traditional hero's journey. Mulan is no longer a scared girl taking up arms for the first time in order to protect her elderly father, earning her place in the army and earning the respect of everyone around her. No, in the new version, Mulan has always had chi flowing through her, and she was always meant to be the greatest warrior of all time. What's holding her back is society's expectation that a woman should not fight. Captain Marvel is the most powerful Avenger.
There's no competition for me because I'm the strongest, so it's just kind of like a...
And what's holding her back? I guess her desire for her mentor's approval? I guess? And she overcomes that easily.
Prove to me you can beat me without...
Now Rey is, well, perfect. Without a day of training, she can mind control guards and pick up a lightsaber and kick Kylo Ren's butt. She's amazing. She can save the day. What a queen. What a bunch of queens. Slaying all day, doing epic backflips and shit. Like, who cares? Look, I want a woman to save the day. I like that just as much as I like the man saving the day. But is it too much to ask that it be earned? That the powers and abilities aren't just handed to these characters, but that they work at them. They hone their skills, suffer defeats that they learned from, and meditate on losses, and come back stronger than ever. And can these women suffer consequences when they behave in terrible ways? Like in The Last Jedi, when Commander Holdo does not share with her team what the plan is for saving the last vestiges of the rebellion. Instead, when a male subordinate asks her what the plan is, she immediately insults him.
Before we can find a new base, so what's our plan?
Our plan, Captain? Not Commander, right? Wasn't it Leia's last official act to demote you?
She assumes that because he's a man, he is not entitled to communication. The rebellion is this close to being extinguished. He's not here to have a pissing match with you. He wants to be useful.
I just want to know what's going on.
Of course you do. I understand. I've dealt with plenty of trigger-happy flyboys like you. You're impulsive, dangerous, and the last thing we need right now. So stick to your post and follow my orders.
This is not good leadership. This is childish behavior, expecting that your team should follow you blindly, and if they don't, it's because of their toxic masculinity. And you know what? She dies a hero, and everyone's like, hooray, we should always believe women, even when they're being terrible leaders. Okay, can Hollywood come up with a better villain than just society? That society doesn't believe in our female hero, so that's why she's not achieving greatness. I know it's supposed to represent the struggles of women today, but believing in yourself is just one of the aspects needed for success. You know why I loved the first Wonder Woman movie? Because despite Diana being literally a god killer, she isn't just an instant warrior. No, she works at it. She trains hard with incredible female warriors and takes falls and hard hits, but learns and grows. So when we finally see her kick some German butt, we revel in it, because she's worked through blood, sweat, and tears to get that good. But what about in the second movie? Well, they undo all that. They show a 10-year-old Diana easily besting women 3 times her age and ultimately losing because of a minor detail. So she's been magic the entire time? Why did she need to train as hard as she did in the first movie as a teenager and as an adult? The problem with these perfect princesses is that it's impossible to connect with them. That's not me. I'm not perfect. I'm not born with magic that makes me able to air kick spears at the enemy. Sorry. And if the lesson here is that every woman has innate abilities they're born with, that are being squashed because of society's restrictions, well, that's just a terrible lesson. Because we're telling women that we have nothing to learn. We're born with everything we're capable of being, and we should only trust and listen to women and men. They're just interested in sex and keeping you down. I guess my question here is, what are woke feminists after? Are they working for equality? If so, why does it seem like all their TV shows and movies are all about putting men down and propping women up as perfect?
It's normal, am I? The only time I've been a man that last body. Dear Lord, how do you cope with all that ego?
And if they are for equality, why oh why are they pushing the worst lesson for women possible? That women don't need to be criticized. There is so much growth that happens when we are criticized. Yes, not all criticism we get in our lives is legitimate. Sometimes it's born from jealousy or fear, but criticism is necessary for growth, for change, for us to adapt, and for us to excel. Telling women that you don't need to grow, you don't need to change, the world owes you success, the world needs to accommodate you, that you can be arrogant, you can assume that every man in your life is a sexist bigot, and if they challenge you, well, it's because they want to keep you down. It's almost as if woke feminists don't want us to be the best versions of ourselves, but instead be the worst versions of men. Like all the bad things we accuse men of being, arrogant, bigoted, or disagreeable. I think Brie Larson is a great example of this. She is the true embodiment of woke feminism.
I did my stunts because I thought that that's what everyone did, and then
Tom Cruise, I mean.
No, I want to be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
Well, you know, I mean, he does his own stunts, you know.
As someone who is at the top of her career, Brie Larson doesn't take the opportunity to give credit to the unsung heroes of movie making like her stunt double, but instead needs to tell everyone just how awesome she is.
Work at being the best person that I can be and using this platform for as darkness, as I can, but doesn't mean... Is that like a personal attack or something?
In closing, this is not feminism. This is toxic femininity. But what do I know? I'm probably the byproduct of years of brainwashing by the patriarchy.